everybody, welcome back to 30 Days Until Done. I'm John Branningham. We're working on a crisis for this month, and these last few days of November, we're kind of redefining what it is that we're talking about. And it's interesting to talk about all of these, sort of the scope of art through our time period. It's very difficult to know what is going to be the classic, what's going to be remembered from our time period, right? Certainly Shakespeare, no one thought during Shakespeare's time that he was going to be the most important artist of his day in his place, and he was that. He was so scandalous they stuck him on the other side of the river, right? Famously, the Globe Theater is on the bad side of the river, away from where all the decent people live. And so certainly he wasn't going to be thought of in that way. So we're taking a look at different types of art to investigate all those things, including we've been looking at graffiti, we've been looking at graphic novels, not very much of it. We've been looking at different things, and I don't know what's going to kind of stand the test of time and emerge as sort of the voice and the statement of our time. But I know one thing that probably will, and that's the movies. When people look back at this time in history, I would think that they would probably think that movies dominated our culture. And one of the great movies of all time is The Godfather. It's certainly one of my favorite movies. And Godfather is interesting because it's making certain sort of pronouncements on the people of that time, on people who they saw as being previously, on ethnic groups, on the idea of crime, and a lot of that's changed. I mean, the Italian Mafia still exists, I think, to some degree, but it has been brought down by the efforts of law enforcement, simply through repetition and going after all these families again and again and again, and Italians not being so discriminated against. So there are other avenues of money making for the people of today. Okay, so this is a long way of me explaining what it is that I talk about if I were going to be writing this poem. I think I'd probably be writing about the differences when The Godfather came out and now. And I think this was a film from 1970, if not 1970, a couple of years after that. And this is significant for me because I was born in 1970. And so my poem would be about how has the face of crime changed in my lifetime, and now it's no longer dominated by these Italian families. It's dominated by other things. You know, there's all sorts of things, and there is certainly a level of ethnicity that goes along with crime, but not in the same way that it happened then. So that'd be my poem. There's a lot of things to talk about the Godfather. That's a sort of historical context, and I'm always drawn to the historical. But you could also talk about the Cinematic, thank you. Cinematic aspects of what's going on in that film. One of my favorite scenes ever is when Michael Corleone lights the cigarette. I don't know if you remember that scene or not. He's like looking at his hand and realizing that he's not scared, that he is more a gangster than Sonny or even his father. Right? Wonderfully, beautifully done. Or you could talk about the writing, or you could talk about the fact that Al Pacino was still a good actor, right? There's a long
He didn't yell at all.
He didn't yell the entire movie. Okay, so all sorts of things you do. When you're done, put it down below. And I will see you tomorrow on 30 Days Until Done.